Week 1 is here, ladies and gentlemen. Texans versus Rams. And I am here for it. Going to give you the keys to victory. What do the Texans have to do to take down the LA Rams in SoFi Stadium? Week 1 this Sunday. And we got a midday kickoff, 3:25. Should be pretty interesting. So coming up, I have my keys to victory on how the Texans can beat the LA Rams, the Sean McVay-led Rams, the Matthew Stafford-led Rams this Sunday. First up on my keys to victory, talking about Matthew Stafford, you gotta bring the pressure. You gotta bring the heat to Matthew Stafford. One, I've been talking maybe ad nauseum for some of y'all about Matthew Stafford's back injury this offseason. He had to have epidurals for him to be able to practice, for him to be able to move around, and it's been a tough offseason for Matthew Stafford. He's getting up there in age, close to the 40-year mark. So, if the Texans' defensive line can really get after Matthew Stafford, that will be huge for this Texans defense. And we all know the Texans' defensive line, one of the best in the entire National Football League. Whenever you look at this unit from top to bottom, they are awesome. Will Anderson Jr., Danielle Hunter, they need to get after Matthew Stafford and make him uncomfortable. I want to make sure that Matthew Stafford doesn't have any breathing room going into this year. I want to make sure that he is able to, not really feel comfortable at all. Because last year, 20 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and those are decent numbers, right? Decent numbers. But here are his numbers under pressure, right? Last year, 2024 passing stats under pressure. 47.9 completion percentage, 952 yards, 4 touchdowns to 6 interceptions when he was under pressure. And this Texans defense loves to take the ball away. So if they can pressure Stafford, make him uncomfortable, make him move out of the pocket with that back injury, I think that is one of the biggest keys to victory for this Texans team. The defensive line, Will Anderson Jr., even on the interior, with guys like a Sheldon Rankins, a Mario Edwards Jr., if they can cause havoc and make Stafford uncomfortable, make him move around, the better chance the Texans defense has of getting takeaways and preventing this Rams offense from moving the ball down the field. So I want to hear from you at home. How many sacks will the Texans defense get on Sunday? My magic number for the Texans, if they can get 5 sacks on Matthew Stafford, I think it's a big dub for Houston. Let me know down in the comment section what you're thinking, though. If you get hit with the YouTube ad break, all good. Scroll on down and let me know. How many sacks will the Texans defense get on Sunday up against Matthew Stafford? All right, number 1, pressure on Stafford. Number 2, no big plays. And probably goes without saying, you don't want to let the deep ball go. You don't want to let this Rams offense get big plays on you. But there's actually more numbers to this than you think. First of all, we got to look at the Rams wide receivers. Davante Adams, one of the newest members of the LA Rams this offseason. Last year, 85 receptions, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. We all know Davante Adams, even though he's getting up there in age, still a very good wide receiver and a very good receiving threat for this Rams offense to pair with Puka Nacua. Both these guys offer a great 1-2 punch for the Rams. Matthew Stafford, he's going to be looking at Puka Nacua, looking at Davante Adams to go over the top. But the one thing that really hinders this Rams offense is actually the red zone. If the Texans can make sure that the Rams don't score on any long plays and get them, if the offense moves the ball, okay. But if they get them inside the red zone, that was Matthew Stafford's Achilles heel last year. These were his stats in 2024, passing inside the 10-yard line. Out of 47 quarterbacks in the NFL, Matthew Stafford was 41st in success rate, 13% passing inside the 10-yard line. 40th in EPA per attempt, negative 1.14. So that's expected points added per attempt. He's in the negatives. And then 39th in completion rate, 29% passing inside the 10-yard line. So the Texans, they love to gamble. They love to try to get those takeaways. But it might be better to be a bend not break defense up against this Rams offense because they had some red zone ineptitude last year. They were not good. So if the Texans can take away the deep ball, take away the big plays from the Rams and make them methodically move the ball down the field and try to score a touchdown inside the 10-yard line, that's not this Rams defense. This Rams offense. That's not their game. That's not where they, excel. They like to score long bombs. They like to score 20, 30, 40-yard touchdowns. Inside the 10-yard line, They're definitely not as good. So if the Texans defense can limit those long touchdown plays and force the Rams to punch it in inside the 10, I think you'll see a lot of field goals by the LA Rams this Sunday. Now, coming up, a major key around this guy right here, Kyren Williams. The Rams running back got paid this offseason, but does he have a little bit of a tell? I'll look into the deep analytics and tell you what the Texans have to look at when it comes to Kyren Williams. But today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. Football season, it is here. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss out on any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is simple to play. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you can cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money today. And Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Georgia, and Florida. And if you're looking at Prize Picks right now and you're like, Jeremy, I don't even know where to start. Well, here's my lineup for this week. CJ Stroud, 11.5 rush yards. I think he needs to use his legs a little bit more. So give me the more on that. Matthew Stafford, 0.5 interceptions. Give me the more on that. And Nick Chubb, 43.5 rush yards. Give me the more on that. You can use my lineup or go ahead and make your own over at Prize Picks today. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, 2 keys so far. Let's look at the third one. And I talked about the Rams running back Kyren Williams, and I think he might have a little bit of a tell. You got to force Kyren Williams left. And I know that sounds a little bit crazy, but when you look at the numbers from last year, he had a lot more success running to the right side than he did the left side. Here's his numbers in 2024. Kyren Williams, running to the left, 633 yards, 9 touchdowns, a little bit of an anomaly because it was kind of center left on the touchdowns, but I'll give it that on the touchdowns. 40 first downs and 13 plays of 10-plus yards. Now, running to the right, 848 yards, 5 touchdowns, 51 first downs, and 18 plays of 10-plus yards. And whenever you look at this Rams offensive line, their better guys are on the right side. They paid Kevin Dotson, the right guard, a ton of money. They also have Rob Havenstein, the right tackle, who is a good run blocker. Alaric Jackson, the left tackle, has been dealing with a lot of injuries this offseason, was on the injury report, should be good to go week 1. But you look at this Rams offensive line, their strength is on the right side. So if you can stop that running to the right, if you could really force him to run left, I think that's a big key for this Texans defense when stopping Kyren Williams and this Rams rushing attack. He got paid this offseason, but the Texans linebackers, if they can kind of key in on that and say, hey, we don't want to let him run to the right, I think that could be a big key for this Texans defense. All right, let's look at the Texans offense now with our last 2 keys. Take what the defense gives. And I think this is a big part of not only CJ Stroud, but this entire Texans offense. Last year, I feel like they were just forcing it way too often. And we talked about the Rams being bad in the red zone on offense, right? They were actually bad in the red zone on defense as well. The Rams defense in 2024 ranked 9th in big pass plays allowed, 16th in big runs plays allowed. So top half of the league in not allowing big plays in the pass and on the run. But in the red zone, the Rams were 21st in red zone defense last year. So that's bottom half of the league. So if I'm looking at the Houston Texans, I know they like to take the top off of a defense. I know they like the Nico Collins deep ball. But with CJ Stroud, with this offense, with new OC Nick Caley, you might have to be, taking what the defense gives you, be comfortable with not going deep every single play and not forcing it. But maybe if you have a, 18-yard deep post that maybe CJ Stroud can fit it in, or you have a running back in the flat that can get you for sure 5 or 6 yards, maybe you take the running back. Maybe you take the guaranteed 5-6 yards instead of trying to force the ball down the field and get 20-25 yards. I think the Texans offense under Nick Caley, we're going to see a little bit of change in philosophy than they had with Bobby Slowick last year. And I think it's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. We all like the long ball. Chicks dig the long ball. We all like the deep pass to Nico Collins. But sometimes you just have to take what the defense gives you. And I know it's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason. Because it's something you're supposed to do, and it kind of fits. Especially with what the Texans are going to be facing this Sunday with the LA Rams. So I gave you 4 keys to victory. I have one more. And I think it might be my biggest key to victory maybe this weekend and maybe moving forward for the rest of the season. Before I give you mine, though, what is your biggest key to victory for the Texans? I see over 150 people in our live chat right now. Go down in the comment section and let me know. What is your biggest key to victory for the Texans this Sunday up against the LA Rams? All right. My final key to victory for the Texans, CJ Stroud needs to get his swagger back. Last year, we didn't see it until the playoffs. We didn't see, CJ Stroud. We saw the early bits of it, through the first 6 weeks of the season. He looked comfortable. He looked good. He liked having Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Nico Collins, all those guys. But midway through the season, going towards the end of the year, he didn't look comfortable. He didn't look like himself. We didn't see that spark that we saw from rookie year CJ Stroud. He's got to get his swagger back. I want to see him throwing the ball to Nico Collins and hitting this to the camera. I want to see him having fun out there. And I think that's one of the biggest things that CJ Stroud, this offense, got away from. And I know it's hard to say, have fun. These guys are getting paid millions of dollars. But at some level, you have to have some fun. For you to be able to be at your best, for you to perform at your best, you have to be in a good mood. You have to be having a good time. And last year, to put it lightly, CJ Stroud was not having a good time. So I want to see this offense be a little bit more balanced, get CJ Stroud in a rhythm, and let him cook, because we all know CJ has the ability to be a top 5 quarterback in this league whenever he's at the height of his powers. We just need the offensive line to hold up, and we need CJ to get that swagger back. That's all I have for you on this episode of Texans Today. If you want to hit me up on Twitter, you can do so. My DMs are always open at Jeremy Chugs. And if you made it to the end of today's show, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Free Texans content all year long. Weekly live shows now and watch parties. I'll be live this Sunday for Texans versus Rams.